Welcome to Born to Win. I'm Brian Proctor, and each Monday I share a short message designed to help you start your week with focus, clarity, and intention. These episodes are built around timeless principles that I learned from my father, Bob Proctor. And when understood and applied, these principles can change the direction of your life. If this podcast has been meaningful to you, please rate it, follow it, and share it with someone who could benefit from these ideas. It helps this message reach people who are ready to hear that success isn't something you chase, it's something you allow. You were born to win, and when you live in harmony with the laws of life, you begin to experience that truth in every area. Today's episode will be a small detour from the series on the 7 laws my father, Bob Proctor, believed govern the results that we get in life. But what we are diving into here today is also a law. It is the law of compensation, and how this law ties directly with the building wealth principle of MSI. That stands for multiple sources of income. So take a deep breath, open your mind, and let's get started. My father spent a great deal of time teaching people how to earn more, but not in the way most people think. He didn't focus on getting a raise. He didn't focus on working harder. He focused on understanding laws, but also on helping people assess their current value and skills, because knowing where you stand is the first step to applying the law of compensation effectively. Because when you understand the laws that govern your results, you stop spinning your wheels and you start building. I'm going to start with the law of compensation, and I suggest that you write this down. At first, it sounds simple, but the deeper you study it, the more powerful it becomes. The law of compensation states this: the amount of money you earn is always in exact ratio to 3 things: the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. That's it. Earl Nightingale referred to this as the formula. So let's break it down. First, is there a need for what you do? If there isn't, you're going to struggle to earn much. No matter how hard you work, that's just the reality of it. But if there is a need, then your focus shifts to the second part: your ability to do it. This is where you go to work. You improve your value. You study. You observe people who are succeeding in this space and ask, what can I learn from them? You get really good at what you do. You develop your skill to the point where you stand out. And when you do that, the third part begins to take care of itself: the difficulty there is in replacing you. Because when your value is high and your ability is strong, you naturally become harder to replace. That's how the formula works. Not by chance, not by luck, but by law. I want you to think about this. Most people are raised believing that income is tied to time. We trade time for money. I worked 8 hours, so I get paid for 8 hours. But that is a transaction. Compensation is tied to value. And value is not measured in hours. It is measured in impact. My father was very clear about this. He would say, if you want to earn more, you must become more valuable. Not just in skill, but in thinking, in awareness, in how you solve problems, in how you serve. Because income is always an effect. Value is the cause. I am also going to suggest you examine your relationship to money and how you think about it. Study books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. When you can see money as a tool for service provided, and when you understand the value of circulation, you are on the path to increasing your prosperity consciousness. Now, let's bring it back to the foundational equation. Your thoughts plus your feelings equal your actions. Your actions equal your results. Let's layer in the law of compensation. The quality of your thinking influences the value you create. The value you create influences your income. So if your income is not where you want it to be, the place to look is not the paycheck. It is the cause behind it, your value. Think of income like water flowing through a pipe. If the pipe is narrow, only a small amount can pass through. If the pipe expands, more water flows. You can try to force more water through the system, but if the pipe is not expanded, the flow stays limited. Your value is the size of that pipe. Your thinking helps expand it, and your income flows accordingly. Now let's shift from the idea of earning to the idea of creating. I want you to really think about this. The moment you move from I earn money to I create value and money follows, everything begins to change. Because now you are not chasing income, you are building the cause that produces it. And that shift changes the way you see yourself, your work, and your worth. Now, I want to bring into something my father taught extensively, the concept of the 3 sources of income. He broke income into 3 primary strategies. M1, trading time for money. This is the model that most people follow. M2, using money to earn money. Investments, the stock market, assets working on your behalf. And M3, this is where a person intentionally builds multiple streams or sources of income. Most people misunderstand wealth, and because they feel trapped in the M1 strategy, they think wealth is out of reach. When you rely on one source and live within the transaction of trading your time for money, you will naturally be limited. Think of it as a table missing a leg. It might stand for a while, but it's unstable. Any shift, any pressure, and it falls. And it's easy to drift into living this way, paycheck to paycheck. Always one unexpected event away from disruption. An illness, an accident, a change in circumstance. Now picture a table with all its legs. It's stable. It's supported. It can carry weight. Income works the exact same way. One source creates vulnerability. Multiple sources create strength. And once you begin to understand that, you start thinking differently about how you earn, grow, and protect your income. Multiple sources of income is not just about earning more, it's about stability, expansion, and freedom. Because when one stream slows, another continues. And more importantly, each source becomes a channel for value. Now let's connect the two. The law of compensation and MSI, or multiple sources of income. The law of compensation, when viewed through the MSI lens, determines how much you earn per stream. MSI determines how many streams you have. So instead of thinking, how do I make more from one thing, you start thinking, how do I multiply the ways I create value? Think of a single light bulb in a room. Oh, it gives light, but it's limited. Now imagine multiple light sources. The room becomes brighter, clearer, sharper, more expansive. Your income works the same way. Each source adds to the whole, the brightness. Even in today's economy, we see this. People who rely on one income stream are more vulnerable to unexpected shifts. Those with multiple streams, they adapt faster, they recover quicker, and expand more easily. Why? Because they're not dependent on a single outcome. They've diversified their causes. I've stated before that I grew up hearing a pro is at their best regardless. So let's apply that here. Amateurs will ask, how do I get paid more? Professionals will ask, how do I create more value? Amateurs will rely on one stream. Professionals will build multiple streams. Do you see the difference? The reason so few people use the M3 strategy, multiple sources of income, is simple. It comes down to mindset. Many people have a fixed idea about how money is made, or they tell themselves, I don't have time. I don't know where to start. But here's the truth about this strategy. You don't build multiple streams overnight. You build them over time. And to do it right, you must be willing to commit to that process. You commit to patience. You commit to learning. You commit to growth. You study. You look for opportunities. And you get curious. You find mentors. You learn from people who are already doing it. And then you take small, consistent steps in that direction. That's how it's built. Not in a moment, but over time. This makes me think of a good friend of mine. He buys existing businesses throughout North America. When he first started, he had to do a lot of research and figure out financing to get his first business. Then he did it again for his second business. None of it happened overnight. It took time and commitment. Today, he owns multiple businesses, providing him with multiple sources of income. He is always on the lookout and has honed his skills to be able to see what companies are viable and to take part in. Think of planting an orchard. You don't plant one tree and stop. You plant multiple trees. Each one grows at a different pace. Each one produces a little bit at a different time. But over time, you have a system in place that produces continuously. That's MSI. So start by thinking. Sit quietly and freely write out ideas. Don't judge your thoughts, just write. You can refine this later. The idea here is to get you thinking about multiple streams of income. Now, all streams won't be equal. This is not the point. The point is to plant many trees. If you feel stuck, get curious and examine your beliefs. Do you see yourself as someone who earns a paycheck? If you stay in that identity, you'll stay in one stream. But if you expand your thinking and see yourself as someone who creates value in multiple areas, you begin building multiple streams naturally. You will see opportunities all around you. So what does this look like? Well, it might be your primary career, an investment opportunity such as real estate or the stock market. Maybe it's writing a book or a business idea, a creative outlet. It's kind of like this, a podcast. Or perhaps serving through public speaking. Each one becomes a channel. Each one becomes a cause. Now, while you are thinking about this, I want to bring you back to the law of compensation. Becoming the best at what you do. This applies to everything. Are you your best self in the service you provide? What about in your relationships? Do the people closest to you get the best version of you? Have you made yourself irreplaceable? Because that is the real value. Now let's move into something practical that you can focus on this week. Expanding your income through value. First, identify your current primary source of income. Now ask yourself, how can I increase the value I bring here? Sit with that question. Don't rush it. Then take it one step further. Identify one additional way you could begin creating value. Not 10. Just one. Now take a small step toward building that second stream. It doesn't have to be big. It could be learning, researching, having a conversation. The key is movement. And then stay consistent. Nothing meaningful is built without commitment. If you want to succeed with the M3 strategy, you will need to dedicate time and energy to it, often outside of your primary work. That's part of the process. There's no denying this is a powerful approach, but like anything of value, it requires effort. This is not a scheme, it is a strategy. And like any strategy, it works when you work it. I want to leave you with this. Your value expands when you expand. When you commit to getting better at everything you are doing, income won't expand by chance. It will expand by design. Thank you for joining me today on Born to Win. If this message resonated with you, please share it with someone who could use a reminder of their own inner greatness. It also helps me to reach more people if you rate and follow this podcast. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Brian Proctor Official. And remember, success isn't about luck or timing. It's about alignment. You were designed for success, built for expansion, and born to win. I'll see you next Monday. Until then, think big, trust yourself, and keep growing.